Another Sunday, another first run impressions video. Let's do this. Good morning, YouTube. What's up, everybody? I hope you're safe and healthy and happy and doing okay. Today we have another first run impressions video of a shoe that I will be honest with you has kind of underwhelmed me in the past, but I feel like I'm kind of alone here because a lot of you really like this shoe, and that is the New Balance 880. And here we have today the V12. To me, the 880 is New Balance's sort of daily trainer middle ground shoe. It doesn't have too much cushioning. It doesn't have too little cushioning. It kind of sits right in the middle. This is the second time I've tried an 880. I tried the V11 and now here we are in the V12. And the V11 was a good solid shoe, but it didn't really wow me and it wasn't something that I was like excited to run in. And I feel like that is important in some cases. Like you want to run in the shoe. So with the V12, I wasn't expecting a ton different about it. Was expecting to feel kind of the same way, and I do pretty much feel the same way, although there are a couple things that I do like about the V12 over the V11, and we're going to talk about all that today. But first, of course, here's the run footage. I do want to let you know that this shoe was sent to me by Running Warehouse and New Balance. However, neither company is going to see this before you. Nobody can tell me what to say, and all of my opinions, as always, are my own. So for a women's size 7 or 8, this shoe comes in at about 8.4 ounces. And for my size 10.5 women's, this shoe comes in at 10.5 ounces. So not exactly light, not exactly heavy. I mean, it is teetering on heavy. But again, it kind of sits in the middle there. It has a 10 millimeter drop, although I do not know what the exact measurements are. And for me, the 880 V12 is true to size. New Balance is using an engineered mesh in the 880 for its upper. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, fairly breathable, and the material is pretty comfortable. If we go to the midfoot, you have that New Balance logo definitely acting as some structure in that midfoot. And the back has a nice and sturdy heel counter. So while this upper does share a lot of similarities with the V11, there are some improvements that I do like. I think that this bigger New Balance logo does lend itself to a little bit better of a fit through the midfoot. It's not just there for aesthetics, although it does look nice. Like I said, this is a fairly breathable shoe. It's not gonna be your most breathable on the market, but it is gonna get the job done. And I certainly feel wind passing through the forefoot of this shoe. Unfortunately, the tongue is not gusseted. I do think that this shoe would probably benefit from a gusseted tongue, might just give it a little extra point for me. Not a deal breaker, but just something I like. And we've got plenty of cushioning around the ankle collar. If I recall the V11's upper correctly, it was a little bit coarser than this. This feels a bit softer. Again, it's a very comfortable upper. I didn't have any issues with hot spots, blisters, or irritation. And while the updates to it are subtle, they are improvements. They didn't harm the shoe and make it worse, which is always good. Just made it a little bit better. But if you like the upper of the V11, I think you're gonna feel just fine, perfectly at home here in the V12. As for the midsole, we have a dual layer situation going on here. We have Fresh Foam X, and then we also have this orange layer to, I guess, give you a little bit extra cushioning. I think that's also Fresh Foam X, but I'm not positive about that. Either way, the V12 definitely feels like it has more cushion than the V11 did. I prefer a little bit more than this. I feel like this midsole is just not really something that I would gravitate towards, but I know that a lot of people don't love overly cushioned midsoles. So if that's what you're looking for, just something middle of the road, not too firm, but not too soft by any means, then you definitely want to check out this midsole because it gives you, I think, just enough. As I began to put more miles in the V11, one thing that I did kind of wish was that it had a little bit more cushioning in the heel. And I'm still kind of wishing for the same thing in the V12, but I do think that with the addition of this Fresh Foam X, we have a little bit more back here, so it feels just a tad bit more comfortable. Another thing that I noticed about this over the V11 is that I thought the V11 was pretty like flat. There was no real like rocker tech and nothing to really help you in your stride. I would say that's kind of the same case here, but I do feel a slight roll, a little bit more of a roll sensation in that forefoot. Which is definitely welcomed. I think I would like this shoe a lot more if it did have some kind of technology like that, but the fact that I feel a little bit more help here does definitely give this some points over the V11. I do think that this shoe can go the distance, certainly can do long mileage, and you could, I guess, take this for faster days. I haven't really done that. I've done a couple strides here and there in my runs in this shoe. It doesn't make me feel faster at all. It can get up to that speed. You know, some shoes will make you feel like going fast, or they'll make you feel like slowing down and kind of going easy. This doesn't really spark any of that for me, but what I will say is that it definitely does feel like a shoe that could be a reliable workhorse. If you are looking for a middle of the ground midsole cushioning shoe, this is definitely something that I would recommend in that case. If you're not looking for a special foam, a plate, a this or a that, and you just want a running shoe that is standard, gonna get the job done, and just gonna work with you through the miles, then that is definitely what you're gonna get here. I also feel like the shoe is pretty stable for a neutral shoe for me. Again, not a stability shoe, but if you're looking to kind of sneak into a neutral shoe, or you just want to make sure that you're not going to be over pronating or supinating, this did the trick. I had no problems with it. Moving on to the outsole of the 880 V12, New Balance is using rubber. Lots of rubber here. We have lots of it in the forefoot, coming down on that lateral side of the midfoot and into the heel. Kind of basically is around the entire shoe. This is something that I really don't like about this shoe, this rubber. It is incredibly thick. Like, if you can see how far it comes down here, it's just a lot of rubber, and I think it creates a stiffness and an extra kind of like blah feeling to the midsole. And I would love to see how this shoe would perform if we just made the rubber a little bit thinner. I feel like we could do it, guys. I really do. I think it would be okay. There's a tiny bit of wear in the forefoot, but overall, I mean, it is gonna be pretty durable. I mean, look how thick it is. And the traction is just fine as well. Had no problems or issues there. I just wish we could maybe just cut down on this a tad. It would be, I think it would be beneficial. I don't know. The 880 V12 is $134.95 on runningwarehouse.com, but oddly, it looks like they only have the men's version right now. I will link that below, but once they have the women's version, I will also link that in the description. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good price for what you're getting here. Again, no bells, no whistles, no gimmicks, no special foams, no plates. This is just a running shoe, and I think you could also bring this to the gym, do some gym work in it, whatever people do at the gym, pump some iron, you know, one of those things. If you're interested in picking up a pair of the 880 V12, just go to the links in the description down below. Click those and pick up your own pair. Keep in mind, these are affiliated with Running Warehouse. Doesn't mean anything for you. It just helps out my channel so I can be honest about shoes that are good, but, you know, it's okay. And that's kind of how I feel about this shoe. It doesn't really, I don't love it. And I don't want all of the 880 lovers to hate me for that, but it's just not my cup of tea, really. I maybe will run in it a few more times. Not sure I'll get it to 50 miles. I just wish it was a little bit more exciting. And it's not, but that doesn't mean it won't be exciting for you. And also doesn't mean it needs to be exciting. It doesn't need to be this special, ridiculously cool, fast shoe to be a good shoe. And I think that this is definitely a good shoe that will go the miles if you just want something simple. And I have to say, I do actually like this colorway, so there's that. Well, everyone, that concludes my first run impressions of the New Balance 880 V12. If you enjoyed this video, please like it down below and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, hit the notifications bell so you can find out every time I upload a new video. Do you like the 880? Do you not really like the 880? I wanna know. Tell me in the comments down below. I have another video for you next week, but in the meantime, get out there, get on the grind, and don't forget to run like Heller. See you next time. Good smoothie. Peanut paradise, something like that, tropical smoothie. Probably 300 grams of sugar, but I highly recommend.